first off, I'd like to say thank you to our wonderful sponsors. Why don't we give them a round of applause for making this happen? Scaled, Closer IQ, Sales Loft, Square Foot, and Splash. I'm Evan Bartlett. I'm a co-host of Building the Sales Machine. My day job is I run the inside sales team here at ZocDoc. Thank you, ZocDoc, for hosting us in this wonderful space. And I want to say thank you to our co-hosts as well. So we've got Dave Greenberger, Eric Friedman, and Sam Jacobs, who also make Sales Machine happen. And then most importantly, I wanted to say thank you to Kara Silverman, who's in the back. Thank you, Kara. She's our event coordinator, and she made today happen. And she's made it incredibly easy for us to pull this off. So today we're going to speak with Josh McBride. And I'll give kind of the 10-second intro because we want to get into the details of his past experiences. But Josh and I met about 5 years ago at a tech event like this where people were primarily speaking about fundraising and product and kind of all the sexy stuff in the startup world. No one was talking about revenue. He was the VP of sales of Cheetah Mail, and he was growing a sales machine from 2, 3, 4, 5 million to 100, 180 million. And I hadn't come across a lot of people who'd built sales to that extent. So we became friends. I'd pick his brain on a lot of these topics, and I felt this would be the perfect forum to kind of jump right into it and talk to Josh.
Cool.
So thanks, Josh, for coming and joining us. We've got a couple categories of questions. We're going to ask some questions that might be interesting to founders, some questions that are interesting to sales leaders, sales managers, and then some sellers, because Josh was a seller as well. So let's get right into it. As someone who's worked at a couple different startups and is now building your own, what do you think the most important thing for a founder to know about sales is as they get into a kind of a sales-heavy company?
Well, let's see. So the first two come. So Cheetah Mail, this next company I worked at, OfferPop. They were both at around $1 million in revenue, so certainly was already kind of getting the wheels going. Relative to Upside or my current business, I think the when and how to get into like how you should start selling. I think the key thing for me at least is like in many ways we're still kind of figuring out what we want to be to the world. So having very detailed conversations with potential clients, picking their brains, asking the right questions, I think is very critical to us. I couldn't imagine right now hiring a salesperson because I think the conversations that you have with very early clients, it's too critical. Like there's too much information that you miss or doesn't get translated to back to me or back to another co-founder if there's an intermediary in the process while we're still figuring out. So I very much think like, you're founding a business. I think, most founders tend, at least the tech companies tend to be developers, engineers, non-sales. And I think it's difficult for them to get into that environment. But it's critical and it can't be outsourced. Like you have to get in the weeds because there's just so much product that feedback that you need to get.
So you're a fan of founder selling. Get out there, do it yourself first.
Yeah, I think like if I and we also over the last year have had an opportunity to work with a lot of founders and a lot of like people looking to hire their first salesperson. And what we tend to see like work well is when the startup has the founders lead the first probably dozen to 2 dozen closed deals where they're actually paying. Because if you think about it, if it's, let's say it's 12 deals, 10% win rate, you're talking to 120 potential clients. And that's, 100 no's, and you learn a lot from that process. So I think like, for me, it's getting to that point, and then it's like, okay, now I have a sense of what the sales process is, what it's somewhat repeatable, so I could hire someone, I could basically tell them what they need to do, and have some confidence level with it, and see how they do.